Ready to embark on a journey of limitless curiosity? Join us on the Being Curious Show, where we curiously connect teachers and seekers in a safe space, exploring a vast array of topics that spark the flame of curiosity within you. We've created a community for thoughtful discussions where teachers share their wisdom and seekers explore the depths of their curiosity. It's a space where diverse perspectives come together, fostering connection and understanding. Our intention is simple: to ignite your curiosity and create a life that totally lights you up. Kelly, just popping in, saying hi. This is the Being Curious Show, where I am a curious girl to know that gets to interview people from all over the world in our amazing community. So let's just jump right in. Today we have Lori Halpin with us, and she is a spiritual holistic practitioner. And I'm very, very blessed that I have been able to experience her on many different levels. And I'm just so excited to share her with you. So here we go. Today, we're joined by the radiant Lori Halpin, founder of Joyful Spirit Holistic, a multidimensional healing practice where energy, intuition, and spirit come together and transform lives. Lori has this spirit about her, and she has this sparkles and these giggles. And I love watching her be. I love watching her work. I love watching her create and play, because her work is so deep and she's able to dial in so fast, but she does it in such a joyful spirit. Oh, wait, that's her business. I can't make this up. Lori has spent more than 25 years guiding others as a Reiki Master, and her healing journey has evolved to include medical intuition, past life regression, transpersonal hypnotherapy, and mediumship. That's a mouthful. I mean, wow, those are gifts. She's trained with world-renowned teachers like Dr. Brian Weiss, Tina Zion, and Linda Thurnberg, blending wisdom from science, soul, and spirit into her sessions. Whether she's helping clients uncover emotional roots of illnesses, reconnect with loved ones in spirit, or discover lessons carried across lifetimes, Lori brings compassion, clarity, and joyful presence to every experience. Through her practice and her group events, she reminds us that healing is not about fixing, it's about remembering who we truly are. Please welcome to the show, Lori Halpin of Joyful Spirit Holistic. I just tried to multitask, Lori, and that didn't work.
That was great.
Well,
Thank you for that lovely introduction. Oh my gosh.
just like, yay. Well, it just flowed. So all was good. Okay. Thank you and welcome to the show. I'm so excited. You're a part of the Being Curious community. You're a part of the Edge community. It's everything's in full flow. So my first question is, what are you curious about today?
Well, I have to say, just from my own experience, I have been on such a fast journey in the last 2 years, less than that, and I've talked to others who I've met with as clients and as peers who are also on a very fast and high, you know, almost vertical
Rocket ship?
trajectory.
Yep.
Yes. So I'm curious about why. I'm curious. I have an idea about why. I've got lots of ideas. Everybody's got ideas about why. So I'm more curious than ever, I think, about what is happening. What is this shift that is causing everyone to just take off and get excited and learn and grow? So yes, that is probably my primary thing that I'm curious about.
Well, and what I would say, just interjecting a little bit, is what you show me is that you've been sharpening your knives, training, sharpening your knives, sharpening in kind of that like, I don't want to say prepper way, but be very prepared. And I mean, all of the different trainings and all the certifications, and you've sought time and space with leaders that it's almost like they got you ready for the show. Oh yeah, now they're showing me Broadway, and they're like, you're backstage and you're like the understudy, and I don't know why we're seeing it as that, and then they just like shoved you on the stage and you're like, and like the lead role, and you're like, okay, and you're worried, like, am I gonna know it? And then it's just flowing out of you. Okay, that's what I get.
That about sums it up. That's how
Okay.
it's felt.
Okay. So what are you in the last 2 years as you're on this rocket ship, but your rocket ship is just like, choop, but there's no fire and you're just levitating. You're like, whoop. What are you noticing? Now, you do events. You worked with people, you do private events, you do large scale events, you work with people one-on-one, you're virtual, in person. What are you feeling? What are you feeling with those private clients? What are you feeling in those galleries? I mean, you've done 18 galleries this year. And by the way, that's a lot of galleries. I mean, even though it's October, that's a lot of galleries. So you've had the fingers on the pulse with hundreds, if not almost 1,000 plus people in these situations. What are you hearing? What are you feeling? What are you knowing?
Um, First, I think there's well, and people are coming to me for this work. So whether that's a gallery or whatever, so that they're already innately or in some way open to this process, but they're looking for answers, and they are very gladly accepting the guidance and the wisdom that's coming. They are excited for it. They're open to it. I've only really had a handful of people, not even, maybe 2 or 3 over the course of this last year, who were just on a mission to test the psychic. They really kind of wasted that time. But for the most part, vast majority, they're just really open. I'm sure you've had this
I love
before as well.
I love that. I love that. You know what I tell people is I'm like, okay, look, we have a limited like moments in time. You can pay me to be a private eye, or we can just go for it. Right. Like, but some people don't. They want to talk to their grandmother and they swear that grandma is going to be wearing a bright blue shawl with red shoes and a green bow in their hair. And if you don't say those 3 things, they're like, they just tune out, or they, right. And that's where I want to be like, well, it could be your great great grandmother, it could be an aunt, it could be I mean, there's like so many souls that like want to come through.
Mm,
Okay, we could do a whole
yeah.
show on that.
Right.
But
And
that's
also
great,
with
out of like all those people to only have a couple people that are like, is great.
Right. Yeah. And the folks who come, and it's really the healing work that we're focusing on, even though the deceased like to come in and help out with that and guidance, with guidance and all. But even with them, that as soon as there's some things that are validated, that they can validate, they're like, oh, okay. And then they're on, then they're okay. Then they take the advice, they take the guidance that comes for them. They do the work. They stand up and the pain is gone, and they're like, oh, okay. So again, by and large, people are just really open and wanting that and accepting of it. And I'm really appreciative of that too. Makes my job
That's
easier for sure.
Well, it's funny. You're like, you might be looking for the green bow, but she's drinking a Diet Pepsi, no ice in a blue cup. How does that sound? And they're like, oh, that was the cup that she left me in her will.
Yeah.
Okay, can
Yeah.
we keep going now?
Right. Exactly.
Okay. So for someone new to holistic healing and energy work, how would you explain medical intuition?
Good
And then I
question.
wanna know, what does a session look like with you? Because you do
Yeah.
this in galleries, you do this one-on-one, you do this virtually, you do this in person, you do this privately. So, like, medical intuition to me is just fascinating. So let's talk about that.
Yeah. So I was getting that information when I started doing Reiki. And I think that's pretty common when somebody gets attuned to Reiki or they start doing energy work, that intuition starts to develop. And I was getting information, not just deceased loved ones and those kinds of things, but primarily I was getting information about what's going on in their body, like what's happening with them and why. And then I would use the Reiki to help with that. After I took about a 20-year break from Reiki. So I started back in the late 90s, and around 2004, I decided to go back to school, to become a classroom teacher. I just wasn't busy enough at the time to know how to promote myself, whatnot. Anyway, but I was getting that information then, and it was just I get my information. I think I'm technically clairvoyant, where I get my information through thought and image.
Okay.
And after I retired almost 2 years ago, and I started taking more classes, I took medical intuitive training. I'm like, oh, okay, so that's what this is. So I get information, and when I'll get my attention is drawn. So my attention is drawn to your shoulders, and then the thought will come, ooh, they're really tight. Ooh, that there's some tension there. My attention will be drawn to the head. And sometimes it'll be like, ooh, you can't calm your thoughts, or ooh, you've got chronic headaches, that kind of thing. So
Right.
it's that combination of things that's happening. I don't feel pain in me because it's pain in you. I don't get that. Again, but I just get the thought, or my attention is drawn, and then I'll get the image as well. So that's what that looks like. And so when I give someone a medical intuitive reading, I'll typically start from the top. I have specialized guides who assist me in this as well, and I could talk about that in a minute. But I start at the top, and it's like, ooh, okay, you're a clencher. Okay. Oh, that neck looks painful. Is that chronic? Yeah. So, and then I give that information to my client as I'm getting it. They validate it, confirm it, and then we keep moving on. Sometimes right in the middle of that, I'll be drawn to a past life, which means that my attention is drawn there, and that will uncover a past life memory that's related to this. And we can do some healing, and we can talk more about that later too, if you want to, what that looks like. And yeah, so that's what that is. And what happens is there's maybe some releasing that the person can do. There might be something that my guides can do that can heal them right on the spot. So it's not only understanding what is the issue, but also the cause and how we can go about healing that, whether it's my guides or my client doing it themselves.
I highly recommend people connecting with Lori about this, because so many people are on this journey to fix their physicalness and self, yet they're not addressing the spiritual and emotional aspect of dis-ease or pain. My father-in-law just went through like 39 rounds of treatment, radiation for prostate cancer. And now his pelvis is absolutely hurting and cracked. And there's a lot going on. He's going through it clenched, because that's what he does. Like that's how and I look at him and I'm just like, Mike, we got to get the wiggles out, and let's talk. And then his dad's behind him, but I can't tell him that, like, your dad's here. And like, and then it's just showing all the different it's the full, you're showing me the Trivial Pursuit piece of the pie. It's just putting all the pieces of the pies together, not just the one that you think that you need to do. So I really want to encourage people to explore working with a medical intuitive like Lori, because she's really good. And I love that you start at the top and go to the bottom. And I've had a session with you, and it's really fun to watch you work, right? It's really fun. You touched, and I was going to go somewhere else, but I want to go back to your special guides, because you introduced me to my special guides, and I rock with them every day. And then I met new guides when I was in Mount Shasta, like the blue version of them. So I had my 3 guides. And then when I was in Mount Shasta, I was like, hello. And then they have their own. So they make their own little Star of David around me in the shower now. So talk about your special guides, because I wouldn't know about them without you. Yep.
So I learned how to basically hire, in a manner of speaking, divine and sacred guides. And I learned how to do that in my class with Tina Zion, my medical intuitive class. Game changer. She calls my teacher, Tina, calls them the big kahunas, and are they ever? Now I have quite the group, quite the team. I've got 5 mediumship guides. They all do something a little bit different to support each other. They kind of, when I check in with them before I do an event or have a client, they're like a sports team getting ready in the locker room. They're just so much fun. I love them. I have a whole large team of medical intuitive specialists, from cardiac to back specialists and just general emergent kind of things. And so I've got that team. They're really great. I've got past life therapy. I've got hypnotherapy guides. So they all support me and all help me. And as I need a new one, I just hire a new one. So I learned how to do that. But for example, and I think this probably happened with you as well, but I was working with someone a couple of weekends ago at a private event. And I had a one-on-one, and I was walking her through getting her own divine and sacred guide because she's got a lot of back issues, chronic back issues. And I walked her through it, and I helped her work with him or them, that person, that guide. And immediately her back released just like that in the moment. And she just did that with her own guides that she had hired. So it's something that anybody can do. I'm always amazed. Whenever I have an ache or a pain, I'd call them in, the specialist, eradicate the exact cause of it, do it now, and it's gone.
I love how firm you are, by the way, because I've always before, I was like, hey guys, does anyone want to all Kelly-ish? And you're like, hey, you're hired. Get over here. Let's do this. Chop, chop. Thank you. Bye. I mean, I love the discernment, and I love the that it's we are partners and let's do this. And it's not just so Michael, could you possibly come hang out with us today in this polite way? You're just you get over here. Let's go. We got work to do.
Right. And then they do it, man. They're on it. And it's phenomenal to be a part of it. Honestly, I am blown away every single time without fail.
Yeah.
And
I was yeah, it was fun. Okay. Something that comes up, and I like this question a lot. You offer both in-person and virtual sessions, right? Given the rise of virtual energy healing work, what are the pros and cons of virtual versus in-person for you and the client? Because I think a lot of people are you can't do that over Zoom. You got to be one-on-one. And I have my own personal beliefs, but I'm excited to hear what your thoughts are.
Yeah. I don't know if I mentioned this, but when I was first doing Reiki, maybe a couple of years in, I was curious if I could do the intuitive part of it over distance. And my sister and her family, they all live in New York. So I called up Linda, my sister, and I said, well, do you know do you have any friends with a sense of humor? Because I have no idea how this is going to go. So
That's awesome.
Absolutely. So I gave about 50 readings over the course of the next month and a half. People I didn't know, validating all the way. So that was so good for my confidence, I have to say. And to understand that it's all the same. And I will tell you that the benefit of the virtual, because the readings are exactly the same, the healing is exactly the same. And I would say from my perspective and from my client's perspective, the benefit of virtual is that someone could go out to their car, make an appointment, go out to their car at lunchtime, hop on the phone and get an intuitive reading, and then they go back to work. And it's all the same.
Right.
And for hypnotherapy, people are actually more comfortable, typically in their own home, in their favorite recliner, or laying on their bed, whatever, than they are here. Well, I mean, it's pretty comfortable here, but there is that level of comfort, and again, that convenience factor. They can do their session over Zoom or over the phone, and then they just go back to their life, and it's exactly the same. I was skeptical about the hypnotherapy one until I experienced it. And then my clients were going really deeply into hypnosis or into that deeply relaxed state really quickly, over Zoom. So yeah, I was skeptical as well, but not anymore.
Well, this next part of the question is going to, dovetail on that. When you host private group events and then also individual sessions, what's the unique feeling, energy, frequency about a group setting, both for the guests and for you? Because I do know that a quiet private session in person or Zoom has one frequency, but then you throw in a group, and that's just a whole different experience in my world. But I have a feeling that you're going to have another little take on that.
There is a level of fun that you cannot achieve with a one-on-one. There's so much laughter. I did a gallery again at a private event a few weeks ago, and we laughed for 2 hours. And I call my galleries through laughter and tears, because honestly, yes, we have to pass the Kleenex around. That's a given, because these are really these are important moments to connect with those loved
Mhm.
ones that have passed. Very, and I don't take away from that. But if they were
Yeah.
funny before, they're still funny. they still they still come through with that humor and with those details about my living clients' lives that are they're ironic, they're funny, they're interesting, but there's a level of fun that happens in those galleries, in those private events. And the private events are really tailored to whoever's hosting. So a private event can include a gallery and then a bunch of individual sessions as well. And that's pretty typical. So they get to experience both often in a private event like that. In a one-on-one, it can still be very playful and fun and all of those things. It's just that you don't have the rest of your family or friends laughing around you at at whatever the deceased person brought up about your life. So
Oh, I'll give a personal, so my session with Lori, my aunt showed up. So hi, Aunt Patty. Aunt Patty's been transitioned about 2 years ago. And we were talking about a pretty serious topic. And Aunt Patty was like, please don't call me in when you're dealing with these issues. I'm not your girl for them. And it was like, yeah, Aunt Patty, great. I'll call everybody else. But then she was like, toodles, gotta go. I'm here for you. Bye. I mean, that's funny. I mean, I love that. Okay, well, I guess we're gonna just let Aunt Patty flight in and float, and she can do other stuff, right? And I love that. And so galleries, if we're going down a gallery, and then I'm realizing there might be people listening that don't know what a gallery is. What is, because I would say a gallery with you would be a really good, like, if you're hearing this, and oh, by the way, hold on, I'm gonna do a little disco whoop. We are recording on the 22nd of October 2025. Lori is gonna be October 25th, the Brookfield Conference Center, and that's Brookfield, Illinois. Hi.
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, thank you. I was
It's
about to say,
right
you're doing
around
Superior and
Milwaukee.
Rice Lake. Okay. So she's gonna be in Milwaukee on the 25th, November 1st, UW Superior in Superior, Wisconsin. Oh, so you're gonna go from Milwaukee up to Superior, and then November 2nd, Rice Lake. So
Mhm.
I was about to say, if you have nothing going on this weekend, who cares if you have something going on? Head to Wisconsin, go to Brookfield, Superior, Rice Lake, and jump in a gallery. Okay, so talk to everybody about what is a gallery, because I think it's a great entry point for people that are curious.
Mhm. A gallery is just a group of people that I would stand in front of, and I would connect with their deceased loved ones and give them messages in a nutshell. So what it looks like is
Your room just got full. There's a whole bunch behind you right now. I can see you trying to do that. I'm like, it's okay.
stinkers.
Yeah, that's
Get me
kind
off
of
my
what I was
game.
hoping you'd say. Yeah. Like, she knows. Let's just do the rest of the interview telepathy. We just be quiet. We can go so much faster. I'd get through all my questions in about 2 seconds. I think it could
Right.
be kind of boring for the guests.
Right. It's so much more efficient, though.
Yeah.
In a typical gallery, I've had from 4 people in a gallery to about 45 in my largest gallery. Typically, they're 10, 12 in a private event. And it's friends, family, or complete strangers. And I use my mediumship guides, my specialized guides, and they help to bring people through to give messages to the people in the audience. When I first started doing this, I thought, well, I'm just going to curious if I can even do a gallery. What does that even look like? I have no idea. Will they glow? How will I know? But my attention is just drawn to a certain person or a certain area in the group. And then I'm like, okay, this is for you. And then I'll start to get information from the deceased person coming through, or my guides. I can't really differentiate between the two, but I will get images of that person. Their personality will come through. I'll get the idea that, okay, this person was really loving, but no nonsense. Those kinds of things. They love to be in the kitchen, or they loved working on cars. Something like that will come through. I'll get information about their how they passed. And with all of those little details, that person that I'm working with, my living client, will then validate, oh, okay, that's my dad. They'll say, okay, and then we get right to the message. So then I bring through that guidance or messages of caring, loving messages from their deceased loved ones. And yeah, so that's basically what a gallery looks like.
And do you find that sometimes there's like a collective message with all of the people that are in the gallery? It's interesting how, like you said, friends and family, but randoms will come in, and then I'll even get like, okay, this is for everybody. This like, right? And it's
Yeah.
interesting. You've experienced that as well, haven't you?
Yeah, for sure. There's so many that will get the guidance that'll come through and like, ooh, that's good for everybody. Let's do that. Okay, we're gonna do, everybody in the group, we're gonna do that whatever that is, that thing, that releasing or what have you. So yeah, often. And so it's, even if you're not the one who's being read in that session specifically, there is something for everybody in these galleries. It's healing. You get an understanding of what it's, of the transition possibly, or you get an understanding of life that I think is really, it's very universal.
It's interesting, these expos that you go to and the events, they're really life-changing. And we're not, I mean, I'm not putting down craft fairs. I'm not putting down, but when you sit with someone like Lori, everybody, don't waste your time with her, because she's going to go in, she's going to go deep, and she's going to do a really, really good job. So I really want to invite people to be curious and definitely check out your website again. Okay, how do people find you? Let's just do this mid interview.
My website is www.joyfulspiritholistic.com. That is the best way to contact me, find out about my programs, about what I do, how I do it, find out about my teachers, where I'm going to be at a wellness fair, the whole business. So that's the best way. And on the website, I have my email address is listed, as well as my phone number if you need to contact me in another way. You can book online. Yeah, it makes it pretty easy.
You have a really clean, really easy to use website. Just letting you know that.
Yeah. Oh, good. Glad to hear that. I've been updating it. And also, Kelly turned me on to this transcription app over the summer, and I have been using that this fall. And it has been also another little game changer, because so much information comes through, even in 15 minutes. Oh my goodness. But let alone an hour-long session. And now with this transcript, they can get it in audio, they can get it in PDF form. And it has been really, really super helpful. So thank you, Kelly, for that idea. And I've been using it.
I used to do my crazy Kelly notes, and it's fun but now when you have the app, you can just turn your brain off of the 3D and trying to capture, like, oh, I need to write that down. Because I know I've been in many sessions where I'm like, oh, I got to write that down. Now I love to doodle and pictures, and when I'm dialing in, if I get words, but I know that it's captured with that, and then it goes straight, and then everyone gets it right away. So yeah. I'm so glad you're using that. Okay, so here's another question that is kind of popping around my head. With so many modalities that you have, Reiki, medical intuition, mediumship, past life regression, hypnotherapy, how do you decide which tool to bring into a session for a particular client? Now, I know it's like Mary Poppins carpet bag. And do you just like lay out everything and then just go like, what am I going to use, like a surgeon? Or like, how do you decide? Do you just look at the person and know? Tell us more about that, because that's fascinating.
That is a great question. And I love the analogy with the Mary Poppins carpet bag. It makes me smile every time. But I will, some people, if a client wants just mediumship, they just want to connect with their loved one and that's all they want, that is just fine. I can focus in on that. So at the beginning of every session, I'll say, well, is there anything in particular that you'd like to experience, or do you just want to see what comes? And I say that way to really promote the let's see what comes, because that's more interesting for me. That's the truth. And we get more information as well. But most people will say, let's just see what comes. And I let them know that they can always interrupt me. It is just fine if they want to get more focused during the session as well. When they say, let's just see what comes, then often it'll start with medical intuition, because our bodies, and I don't know if I mentioned this, but like Carolyn Miss talks about how your biography becomes your biology. She's a famous author and a medical intuitive. And that has stuck with me, and it is so true. So often it'll start with that medical intuition, and then it might bring me to a past life. There might be a deceased loved one who comes in who wants to weigh in on whatever topic we're talking about, whether that is their self-care, or if that is, letting go of emotional baggage of some type, whatever, and healing. Really, it's all about healing. And so they might get all of it, apart from the hypnotherapy, they might get all of that in 15 minutes, and often they do, because it just comes through so quickly. And I'm just, and then, and it's all, again, it's for the purpose of healing. So, I allow the intuition, and my guides to guide that process, and to get as much out of that time that we have together, whether that's 15 minutes or an hour, that we can.
Okay, I'm going to go into 2 different levels now because I just want to, and I think it's fascinating. You brought up mediumship, but then also past life therapy and regression. So what we're going to go with mediumship, and that is connecting with loved ones that have passed. It is very healing. It's very sacred. It's very sensitive. How do you personally ensure the process is safe and grounded for both you and your clients? And then what do you do before? Before a private event, before a show, before a connection, and then afterwards, because I know there's different, everybody's got their different ways. What do you do?
Every morning I do this, but especially before I do events, I get my guides involved, and I have them filter my energy, removing anything that is not mine or is negative, and do it now. So you can do that, even if you don't have divine and sacred guides every day. The next thing I do is I make sure that I have my guides remove all negative energy cords from me. So people can sometimes, we'll say cord in, for lack of a better term, but they kind of connect with us with some negative energy or some neediness or what have you. I don't worry about why. I don't qualify that or judge it. Just like guides, just remove all negative energy cords from me, return to sender, and do it now. And then sometimes, we cord into other people, whether we mean to or not, through anger or neediness or what have you. And so I tell my guides to retrieve all of my energy, filter it, and restore it to me, and do it now. So that's the second thing I do, is the energy. The third thing is I build my toroidal field. It's a little more complicated, but it's basically, instead of putting yourself under a bubble of protection, you're building that energy from the inside out. And it's amazing. And you feel like $1 million when you do it. So let me know if you're interested in learning how to do that. There are a few steps involved, but I do that as well. That protects me from any other energy that might be out there. I don't have to worry about absorbing someone else's energy. I have already built that toroidal field and am protected from the inside out. So that's what I do as well. So those are the things that I do to start my day and to make sure I'm ready for an event. The other thing is I just make sure that I'm grounded. So if I'm feeling like I'm feeling up here, I go get some water. I drink some water, and to calm me, and I take a minute. I tell my guides to ground me if I'm not feeling grounded. For the most part, I'm pretty grounded, so it doesn't, but every once in a while I need to do that, because the more calm I am, the calmer my gallery will be, the group in front of me. And I think that's really important. They shouldn't see someone with their energy here, unless I'm getting excited or having a good time. But yeah, so that's how I prepare.
Okay, you just teased with the toroidal field, and you actually offered if people wanted to have, because I really feel that, um, a lot of people that I work with, I'm like, how do you protect yourself in the morning? And it's not even protect is the wrong word. How do you get ready for the day? How do you cleanse? How do you let go? How do you stay grounded? And a bubble is cool, right? And I bubble up all the time, but the toroidal field. So if you would take a couple moments
I can.
and then just guide us on how to dial in and do this, I think this would be a great gift for the audience.
All right. So if you wanted to, everyone, I'm going to keep my eyes open, but if you wanted to close your eyes so you can imagine this a little bit better, you can do that. All right. Because you just listen to my voice. Our imaginations are very powerful tools. And so using your imagination it's going to be helpful. All right. So I want you to tell your guides, all right, and your warrior angels to assist you in building your toroidal field now. All right, I always say now. All right, so then imagine. So what we're going to do is we're going to be bringing up light from the center of the earth, and light has a frequency. It's energy, so keeping that in mind as well. So we're bringing up red first, so colors of the rainbow, colors of the chakras, bringing up red from the center of the earth, filling our whole energy being all the way up. And just imagine it like a fountain, like you're standing in the middle of like the Menards fountain in the front of their business, but it's all energy. So red first coming up and out and around. And imagine that you have also a toroidal field surrounding your heart. So I imagine it coming up and then around my heart and around. And now we're going to add to that orange, bringing up orange light from the earth, all the way up and around, along with the red, around the heart. There we go. Now the yellow, bringing it up from the earth, all the way up and around the heart. Then the green. Imagine bringing up all the way up through, all right, all your whole being, up and around. All right, and now the blue, bringing that up, and that is that throat chakra color. All right, and bringing up all that blue energy, allowing that to flow up and around you like a fountain, then around your heart as well. And now the violet, bringing that on and up and around your heart as well. All right, so now you're in this fountain, a beautiful light. And now the next thing we're going to do is I want you to use the Saint Germain's violet flame of purification. This is part of what I do. So I imagine this flame is just burning off all negative energy in my whole being. I start at the bottom of my feet and I just let it burn, going all the way up and around. And once it burns out, I imagine in my mind's eye, I shake off the ashes. I don't know if you have to do that part, but that I do. That's what I picture.
Like the shaking off the ashes. That's great.
And then now the next two things. So the first thing is bringing on up sparkly white light. And this light is healing energy. And it's going to fill every area of your entire being, really healing it and purifying it as well. And the last thing is gold. And this gold energy, when I start to see that, it's almost like molten as it's on my feet, but then it becomes this beautiful, bright, honey color gold as it goes up and around. And I think when I wasn't starting to see that as molten to begin with, but I'm like, I feel like that's grounding for me. That just kind of sets my feet down firmly on the earth and gets that going. All right. So now we've got all these colors flowing into this toroidal field. All right. And the next thing that I do is I tell my guides to build my toroidal and my warrior angels to build my toroidal field to brilliance and extend it up into the universe and as far and as wide as it can go. And that's it. And then what I see myself, and then I picture myself, and I'm like this ninja warrior, like, that maybe that's TMI, but that's what I picture. I feel so powerful and protected, yet not protected, right? So protected from the inside out and just really powerful. And I do that work, especially, I always make sure that I'm extra powered up before I do work with like the troubled deceased and folks like that I, might be a little not dangerous for me, but that I might need a little more protection from. So make sure I'm powered up.
Okay, well, thank you for that on behalf of myself and everybody listening. Okay, so everybody timestamp from 34 minutes to 38 minutes. Keep it and play it every day because that's
For
fantastic. Well,
sure.
thank you for that gift. That was
Yeah.
lovely.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to shift gears onto past life therapy and regression because that's another tool in your toolbox or your Mary Poppins carpet bag.
Yeah.
Can you share an example, of course, while respecting privacy, on how a past life insight dramatically changed someone's present life?
Yeah. I have one right at the top of my head. I maybe it was a couple of months ago. I worked with a female client, and when I was doing the medical intuitive scan, I saw that her neck was really painful. I'm like, oh, you have sharp pains in there too, yeah, yes, and that's how I do that. And she validated that was the case. And then I saw that she had pains in her head as well and chronic. And yes, she validated that. And I was immediately taken to a past life. And again, I'm not going anywhere. My attention is drawn to that memory. And what I saw was that she was male, African American, and young. So she was like upper teens, maybe in age. And then I saw her, she was tied, her wrists and her ankles were tied, and she was being drugged behind a wagon by the ankles in that life, and as that male. And so as I was seeing this, do you also have issues with your wrists? Yes. Do you also have problems with chronic pain in your ankles? Yes. And then I'm seeing her bouncing along behind this wagon. I'm like, so your whole spine, or you have trouble with your whole spine having pain? Yes. And that tailbone was really hitting. So yes, she was having chronic pain there. Well, it's fascinating because as I'm getting those pieces of information through thought and image, I'm sharing that with my clients, and they're able to validate those things. So the next thing that we did is I had her shower him with love. All right, working on that karma, and then I send in my medical intuitive guides to do healing work on that young man. All right, that part of her that was shown in the memory.
Right.
And when I do that, and I'm sharing. So if I'm getting anything new, I'm also sharing. So it's kind of a quiet part of the session because I'm just working with my guides. My guides are actually the ones doing the healing work. I'm just telling them what to do.
Right.
And then after I do that, then I work in present life and have my medical intuitive guides also doing healing work with those areas of the body that were impacted by that past life experience, that trauma. And the amazing thing is that there was no pain when we were done with that. She has chronic pain in all of those areas. So I'm saying, okay, well, how does your neck feel? I'm just like, oh, feels good. Like, headache was gone. Her back was feeling good. I'm like, test your back. How's that feel? Her wrists were fine. Her ankles were fine. It's like, and this happens time and time again. And if it's not completely eradicated, the pain or the disease or what have you, it's significantly reduced. It's an amazing thing for me to be witness of. I get to be a part of it, but really it's the guides doing the work. I'm just telling them what to do. And it is fascinating how our past life traumas and situations can still be living in our energy and impacting our present situation and condition.
Isn't it? It's just fascinating. We had something with my son. He wouldn't learn how to ride a bike. We didn't know why. And we went and did a session with my mentor, and we got that he was on, and it was like an old school bike. So I want to say like he was in like the 1900s, and he was riding his bike, and then either got like hit by a horse and buggy, or he got hit by something. And that's why he didn't want to ride a bike, because he had experienced that in a past life. So we cleared that. And within 24 hours, the little kid got on his bike and started to ride it. So those little things, it's just be curious. Like, you have nothing to lose by going in and having a session and doing that,
No.
especially if you are experiencing anxiety or chronic pain or something that you're just like, I can't figure out why my wrists are always hurting. I've done PT, I've gone to the doctor, I've done this and that. And then, but coming and speaking with Lori, she can be
Mhm.
like, hey, let's try a different approach.
Mhm.
That is so cool.
Yeah. And
Right?
always fascinating, always. I had one past life, I was actually regressed. Um, and my mother and I had she's passed now, but we had a contentious relationship, I would say. Um, and I was brought to a past life, and I was a man. And I looked over to my right, and we were in a wagon. And here's my wife, and she's carrying a baby, and she wasn't talking to me, which
Oh,
something very typical for my mother and myself, for sure. And I'm like, okay, well, what's going on? And she kind of turned a little bit. I'm like, oh, that's my mom. So my mom in that life was my was my wife. And I didn't know, still why was she was angry. There was our son was standing in the back of this wagon. We were on the road, and we were brought back to a little bit further to our wedding. And then I understood I had not kept my promise in that life that I would take care of her. So all of this mistrust that she had with me, which I thought was completely unfounded, it had so much to do with this past life experience. And who knows what I was doing or the ways that I was behaving that wasn't aware of, that she thought was like, why is she acting this way? And so what that gave me, even though she had already passed at that time, was an understanding of her. And there was healing with just uncovering that memory. So it can be as simple and as amazing and complex as that. You don't always have to stand up with no pain. Sometimes that there are other types of healing that are just as impactful or more.
that's amazing. Okay, you guys, we've talked about our mediumship gifts. We've talked about the past life um, regression. We've just scratched on hypnotherapy. Tell us a little bit more about the power of hypnotherapy and how you work with your clients.
Yeah. So hypnotherapy is really just getting my clients into a deeply relaxed state. And from that deeply relaxed state, they are less resistant to change, to thoughts. And so there are two things that for me, when I'm doing more behavior modification kind of hypnotherapy, there are two things that I want to do. I want to interrupt or eradicate the old patterns that are limiting, right? Or the ones that you don't like or don't want. And I want to add in new patterns that are more toward what you want and match more closely with your goals. Yeah, so that's pretty much where I go with hypnotherapy. Yeah,
Is it hard can everybody be hypnotized?
everyone can be hypnotized. We are all in some kind of hypnotic state at least a couple of times a day. When you first wake up, when you first go to, start to drift into sleep, it's just a deeply relaxed state. It is, the more you do it, I think, with actual hypnosis, the easier and more deeply you relax. And so that is a helpful thing too, to do that more than once. But everybody can go under hypnotherapy and get some benefit.
Yeah. No, that's fantastic. So let's jumping onto that. Self-care for practitioners is often overlooked. You've talked about your team. You've talked about the toroidal field. What else do you do to maintain your energetic well-being on the earth front, like on the 3D side, but then also the 5D side?
Yeah. I make sure to drink a lot of water, here, and make sure I drink my vegetables. I'm not a very good eater of vegetables, but I drink my vegetables. I make sure and get that nutrition in as well, but that and water. The other side of things, I do my clearing. So I have them have my guides filter my energy. I get rid of the cords, and I do the toroidal field. Now, between every single client, after every single client that I work with, I have my guides tell my guides to filter my energy, removing anything that is not mine or is negative every single time. So there's no buildup. Often I don't remember, the details of those sessions. And it's not because I'm not fully present. I am, but I intentionally, this is not my life to remember. This is not my story. These are not my emotions. So that, I think, is a really key thing, to tell your guides to filter your energy, removing anything that is not yours and is negative. I have as much energy at the end of a long day at a wellness fair as I do at the beginning. I am not energetically depleted. I might be tired because I've been working for 7 hours, but that's different.
Right.
I am not energetically depleted, and it's because I take that step. I'm absolutely convinced of it.
Oh, I believe you. I know I know the days where I'm like, oh my gosh, it's 5:00 already. Wow. Or, oh my gosh, I'm dragging. And then it's like, okay, what didn't I know what I didn't do. Okay. No, it's very black and white. It's very, very clear when you don't do those steps. So I'm so glad that you're able to share that with the community.
Yeah.
Because those are
And
the
it only
little things that.
Yeah, it only takes a moment. I just tell my guides, and it's like 10 seconds at the most for me to give the command, them to clear my energy. I move on to the next client.
I've watched you do it, and it is fast and it's very powerful. Okay, so looking ahead, what developments or innovations in holistic healing excite you the most? Are there any new modalities that you're exploring? Any new classes that you're taking that you'd like to share?
Not taking any new classes yet. Still trying to integrate and incorporate what I've been learning. However, I've been getting really inspired to create groups and virtual groups, especially with hypnotherapy and with past life regression. So I'm excited about that. I've created a new hypnotherapy group. We call it Hypno Before the Hustle. It's specifically created for busy working moms, although we'll let anyone into that. And so because of that, it's offered either at 5 a.m. before you have to hop in the shower, or at 6 p.m., maybe when the kids are being entertained by, another grown-up, right? So you can have your time. It's over the course of 2 weeks. It's going to be, a very short time commitment. Again, trying to really focus in on that client that is that busy working mom who wants to lose weight. There are 5 sessions. Each of those 5 sessions address a different eating pattern or lifestyle pattern. So from overeating to emotional eating, snacking, that kind of thing, to movement and movement and getting that energy up. And so again, we're trying to or not trying to, but with that hypnosis and with that hypnotherapy and with the scripts that I use, it's about getting rid of those old patterns of emotional eating, for example, and then creating new patterns that are eating for energy, eating for nutrition instead, right? And then pushing that plate away when you're starting to feel full, that kind of thing. So I do think that hitting all 5 of those areas from my own experience, my personal experience, and my weight loss journeys, and my many, many diets that I've been on over the years, that those 5 areas I think are the most important, critical. And so I've separated them out into different, very focused hypnotherapy sessions, so that we can really spend time on each one. Very excited about that. And
you're kicking that off in January, correct?
Well, in January officially, but we're going to have an early bird the 2 weeks prior to Christmas, where it's going to be $100 off. So if you're interested, you let me know, and we'll send you out some information. I have prepared a Zoom session where I explain the entire program in detail, and then you can make a decision after that. So every couple of weeks we're going to have a new cohort, which is a group that goes through together, because it's just a 2-week commitment, which is great for busy working moms, I think.
Oh, I mean, like, what do you have to lose? You do it, and I mean, I think it's not just weight loss. I think there's going to be a lot of things that you're going to be able to tap into and really help these women and men out, the
Yeah.
busy ones of the world. And
Mm.
oh gosh, yeah, that 6 o'clock hour, it's like you either hand the baby off or you're like, could you please watch a show and just give me a little time? So I think that's brilliant.
Yeah.
5
Yeah.
a.m. I'm still rolling over. I've got to tell you, but that 6 o'clock, that's amazing. Okay, so you're doing the weight loss program, which Hypno Before the Hustle, I think is
Yeah.
amazing. And then you're also, so let's just really talk about how people can connect with you. We have those events coming up October 25th, Brookfield,
Mhm.
November 1st, UW Superior, and November 2nd, Rice Lake. Now
Mhm.
you have everything's on your website. And again, it's a
Yeah.
really easy, clean website to use. So when we're giving you the guidance to go here, you'll know how to do it. But you have your virtual sessions, you also have your private events, and then you have the Hypno Before the Hustle. And
Mhm.
then people can do readings with you. I mean, you don't just have to be the gallery. They can also
Right.
see you in person at these events, October 25th, the 1st and the 2nd.
Mhm. Yeah, and we have events almost every weekend of the year. We keep signing up for the entire season. So, and everything all the way through the spring. We've got a couple we want to add in, but all the way through the spring are all on the website already. With
That's
more details to
beautiful.
come. But yeah, it's just a lot of fun. My husband does this with me, and he runs the front desk and answers questions and signs people up, and so we get to travel and have a lot of fun with this too.
Well, you get to have fun together, and
Yeah.
that's what's just so fun. Okay, if you were going to leave everybody with a thought, an idea, something to ponder on, something to be curious with, what is it?
Just a reminder that, like Carolyn Miss said, your biography becomes your biology. Your body is just giving you clues to what else is going on. And sometimes you don't want to deal with it in the moment, and sometimes you do. And that's okay. But I will give you one more tip to do. If you are feeling tightness in your upper shoulders in particular, which almost every woman I've ever worked with has this, so I'm just going to offer this for you. I want you to imagine taking yourself to your favorite body of water. All right, imagine that. Toes are in the sand if you want to do that. And just imagine that. Again, your imagination is a powerful tool. Imagine you're wearing a neck pillow, the kind that you might travel with. And in that neck pillow is everybody else's emotional baggage, right? In this lifetime, past lifetimes, with your intention, imagine taking that neck pillow off and tossing it into the water for transformation. Just that easy. Feel your shoulders. You're like, oh, okay. It'll be validation, but it's a tool that anybody can use, and hopefully you'll be feeling a whole lot better.
I just did it while we were recording, and I already feel better. So thank you for that. What a
Yay.
great way to end. Oh my gosh, you guys. Well, this is the Being Curious Show. I'm Kelly. This is Lori. She is with Joyful Spirit Holistic. Thank you so much for being on today. This was such a good one. And we got to play, and we got to check in, and we got to learn about our Terodial field. And then we got to take all the crap of the world and put it in a neck pillow and throw it into the water. I mean, does it get better than that? No.
Well, thank you for having me, Kelly. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. It
This
was
was
an
fun.
amazing one. I'll see you soon. Explore your higher consciousness with the Edge Media Platform. We're a multimedia platform dedicated to connecting curious teachers and seekers in a safe, welcoming space. Dive into spiritual growth with our print magazine, digital content, podcasts, and in-person experiences. Whether you're seeking wisdom or sharing it, we're here.